Right team, welcome back to Caravan Carp and another Tackle Tuesdays. In this Tackle Tuesdays, what we're going to be going over is the Parker Baits bait range. I'll take you through all the different products and how I've been using them in my fishing over the last couple of months. So if you're new to Tackle Tuesdays, what Tackle Tuesdays is about is giving a honest opinion of products. You know, I've done a number of Tackle Tuesdays now and they're all doing really well. And I'm finding that people are loving how honest I am about telling you the good and the bad about all products that I've reviewed so far. I'm not looking to get a job or get sponsored by any of these companies. I'm literally just telling you the kit I've used, why I used it, you know, why I've changed from it, and what's good or bad about what I'm currently using. So as it stands with this one, what we're going over is the Parker Baits range. So firstly, I obviously have to tell you how I got involved with Parker Baits. So I'd been using Munch Shelf Life bait for ages, you know, and I was really happy with the cream seed. You know, a lot of people look at it like it's a budget bait, but you know what, I've had quite a few fish on it. And I started using Munch through a local lake that I fish, and the owner, Dave, gave me quite a bit of Munch. And I'd already used a bit in the past anyway at the caravan, but I started using it for a while and I was really happy with it. But what I was finding is a lot of places you're not allowed to use shelf life bait, and I don't really get the shelf life versus frozen fresh sort of thing. You know, I think nowadays preservatives and things like that are that good that I don't think it's a harm to the fish. But at the end of the day, we don't own the fish and we don't own these fisheries, so we've got to abide by the rules. So I was looking for a freezer bait, and to be honest, Ben got in touch with me through Instagram, asked me would I like to do some media for Parker Baits, because if any of you aren't aware, I do quite a lot of media stuff, photography and stuff. I'm really into my photography, obviously, video. This is my way of learning video. So I was like, yeah, of course I will. So he said, obviously, you can try the products, what you're shooting afterwards and stuff like that. So I started to use them through that. And then I started to get more and more involved with the media side of Parker Baits. And I've kind of grown to love the bait itself, the company, you know, the company ethos and things like that. So what I want to share with you is my experience now with Parker Baits, and I'll take you through all the different products. So firstly, what I absolutely love about this bait is the fact that I feel like I found a freezer bait that doesn't require anything adding to it. So how it works with Parker Baits is there's a two-stage dusting. So when the baits are made and steamed, and I'll go more on to the steaming process in a bit, but they add what we've got here is a product called the Magic Dust, and they add like a 20% strength version of this Magic Dust to create like an outer skin. And they do that in two stages. So first and foremost, once it's been steamed, it's dusted. And then afterwards, when it's packed in the bag, it's redusted again. And in what I mean by I found a bait that doesn't need anything adding to it, when you let the bait defrost and you actually let the moisture come back out and obviously the water defrost, the outer core actually activates and it becomes like the outer skin puffs up. And I feel like when you drop that into the water, the attraction that gives off, I feel like I don't need to be putting loads of liquids or powders and stuff like that. And it's a bit like anti-marketing, but it's the truth, you know, that's the way I feel. However, they do a vast range of, no, it's not vast, but it's getting bigger, a bigger range of products to complement it. You know, we've got the sauces, and I'll go through them. You've got the Magic Dust, you've got the bait sprays, and you've got the Flat Spot, which is the latest product that's been released. And they've got all them to do that. But you know what? I'll be honest with you and say, out the bag, this is an absolutely brilliant freezer bait. Another thing that I really like about Parker Baits is the fact that delivery is great. You know, they forecast a delivery date and they usually under promise and overachieve for what I've found. You know, you order your bait, and unless it's a massive order, you know, obviously they are a smaller company, but they've invested heavily in equipment. Your bait is there rapido, you know, and that's exactly what you want. You know, when I've worked with other smaller companies in the past, I've found that the issue that you tend to have is delivery. You know, I need my bait for this date, you order it, and then 2-3 weeks later it's still not there, and there's nothing worse. And the one thing about Parker Baits that I've had, in my honest opinion, is it's been there. Literally, I've ordered it and within a day or two I'm generally receiving my bait. So for me, what more do I want from a company with regard to getting my bait to me? You know, that's something I'm well and truly happy with. Another little good thing that they've got is Ben's always on the bank. You know, if you've not seen their channel, they have a channel called the Parker Brothers, and it's their YouTube channel. They've got over 10k subscribers. Ben's out every week posting a video, catching big fish up and down the country, you know, on harder lakes, easier lakes. and he's proving using his own product is working, you know. And I fished with Ben. I went and met him and we shot loads of media and stuff like that, and I'll go through a few bits and bobs that we had there, but he's so passionate about what he does, you know, about investing in the company, investing in the products, investing in the ambassadors, that sort of thing. And I think it's going to be one of the next up and coming bigger companies. You know, it's hard. It's a really cutthroat industry, the bait industry, and I think they're heading in the right direction, you know, to make it through to be main scale. One thing I do need to go over is how the baits are made, in the fact that they are steamed, you know, and they're steamed for the minimum amount of time. And if anybody who is into bait making, you'll know that when you boil your bait in a pan, what you find is that liquid afterwards, you can just see how much of the actual flavour of the ingredients and the nutrients within that bait has come out through boiling. So in the fact that you steam it, that means that you retain as much of that nutrition, you know. And the more nutrition in the bait, the better the value of the bait is at the end of the day, because you're getting a better product. And what I like about it is, I've always found, so other than some of the main brands, I found that the smaller brands, you either get marbles, like the bait's too hard because it's been overboiled or over dried, or the bait's too soft, in there, not that it's soft and doughy, but in the respect that it's soft and crumbly, so you squeeze it and it just falls to pieces because it's dry. And what I found with Parker baits is it's the perfect consistency for me. You know, you're not going to please everybody. There's no way you're going to please everybody, because some people want to throw and stick it. And in that case, what I would do is air dry it. Do you get what I mean? But I wash my baits out, so I'm looking for a softer bait, if that makes sense. So for me, it really works for me. And if you're looking for a softer bait, then I definitely highly recommend this. And it's all down to it being steamed, and steamed for the minimum amount of time. And that's something Ben's like mad on. He's mad on steaming times and things like that. And you know, if you actually get in contact with him and you say, I want a really soft bait, or I want it slightly harder, when you make your order, he will try his best, if he's making a fresh order that day, to actually make it to your specification. Which, what more can you ask? You know, that's something I'm well and truly like made up with, that interaction that you get, you know. So yeah, that's all I really want to go on the steaming side of things. Right, so let's talk through the bait ranges. I've waffled on enough about other things for long enough. So you've got the lighter coloured here, which are the OG fruit, and then the 18mm on the end, that is the OG fish. That's the darker coloured bait. And they're available. You got 10s, 14s round, 18s round, and then 18 dumbbells. And then one product that I use in a lot of my baiting application is ready-made crumb. You know, that is an absolute game changer for me. I know it only takes a couple of minutes to have to put it through the crusher and stuff like that. Unless you're using them quarter round ones, you need about 4 days. But if you're using a Ridge Monkey one, it's not that much of a burden. However, it's nice to just be able to pull it out the freezer, chuck it in your bag, and you know that you're ready for your session and you're not having to mess about crumbing it up. So that's something that I use a hell of a lot of. Right, so I'll talk to you about the OG fruit now, and this is their year-round bait. You know, it's the milk protein nut style bait that most companies tend to do, and theirs is got 3 main flavourings. The 3 main flavourings are coconut, nut, and chocolate orange. It's the easily digestible, low oil content style bait that most companies tend to have in their range. You know, they always have one of them kind of baits. And as much as the fish is a year-round bait, also if you want to use it, because Ben proved that, you know, with all his captures throughout the year, mixing both. But this has got things in it like your milk proteins, your tiger nut, it's got your CLO in there, things like that. And I'm not a big bait ingredient person, you know, I'm not into that side of things. But if you do want more info on what's in these baits, then it's all available on the website, and I'll put that in the link down below. I'll put that in the description. And also Ben's numbers on the website. So if you want to know more about it in depth, then give Ben a call, and he's always more than willing to actually, you know, discuss it with you. But I'm not really going to go massively into what's in each one of the baits. Now I'll talk to you about the second line of bait in the range, and that is the OG fish. And wow, it's a proper strong one, to be honest. And it's a fish-based seafood smell with a hint of spice and heat. You know, it's a hot bait, and you got to watch getting this in your eyes when you've like put your bait out and you itch your face and stuff like that, because it is really spicy. And the 3 main ingredients for this are squid, octopus, and fermented chili. I believe there's about 15 different mixes of spice and like curry powder sort of things and things like that, and it's a bespoke mix. I believe the fish meals are CPS 90 and LT 94, and if obviously people who are interested in bait know that they're some of the best fish meals on the market, and you've also got like the pre-digested fish meal there. And one thing they do, which I'm led to believe you don't normally do in a fish meal based bait, is they add CLO to it and things like blood plasma and stuff like that. But I'm not going to go massively into that. As I've said, I'm not a big bait person, but this is my go-to summer bait, you know. Now I've got the t-shirt on, you know, it's got a little bit warmer, finally out of the dreaded quarter jumper, and the fish is what I'm going to be using now predominantly throughout the year, and I'm going to hit the caravan and my new syndicate big with it. You know, Dave the Carp and who you've probably seen in some of my videos and does YouTube as well, he's now moved on to Parker baits and was using sticky krill, the krill, I forget what you call it, the one with the skin on, which is basically a bit like Parker baits. And we're both now using that on the syndicate when I get my ticket. So hopefully it's going to be a big year for us on there with using the new bait. Right, the next product I'll go over is the sauces, and these are designed to glaze your baits or can be used in PVA bags because they're PVA friendly. And what I like about this is how thick it is, and I feel like when you use it on your baits, it glazes your baits and sticks to your baits because it's nice and heavy and coats the bottom of the lake and doesn't kind of leak off really quickly. You know, what I've found with a lot of the bigger companies, what they're doing is using glycerol to bulk out their glugs and give you bigger bottles, but in reality it's just a watered down product. What this is 100% food based sauce, and there's no extra additives in it from there. So your fish one is basically a hydrolyzed fish and chili flavor to complement obviously the OG fish, and then the fruit is a liquidized nut, and as I've said, they're 100% food based. So I've looked in the past at bulk buying my own hydroslates, and like I wanted to buy krill hydroslate, and it's really expensive, you know, because I was looking to bulk make my own glugs, so I know how expensive it is. So that's why I'm happy with the price of this actual glug in itself, because I know that it's a Rolls Royce product using really expensive ingredients, you know, and that's what makes me happy about these sauces. And I'm happy, and I think they really complement well adding it to either your bait directly, or what I tend to do when I wash my baits out, I like to add it to the water, and I've been having good effect with that. Right, so the next thing I'll talk to you about is the magic dust, and this is obviously in the fish and the fruit once again, and it's basically a supercharged version of the dust that is used to do two-stage dust the baits. And I've not used loads of it yet, but what I tend to use it for is I put it in the bottom of solid bags, you know, that bit where you normally put like a zig and stick mix or whatever in the bottom. I've been using the magic dust for that. What you can do is you can glaze your baits with a sauce and then add the magic dust over the top, or you can also add it to your baits as a defrosting, and it'll stick to the outer and create an even thicker outer coating with a stronger product. Another thing that you can do, and I have done in the past and experimented with things like krill and blood plasma and stuff like that, is you can glug your baits up with something like an oil or a bait spray, and then if you add the magic dust to a pot, you can roll your baits about in that, your hook baits, and we do have a hook bait range now at Parker Baits. These are Wafters, and I'll go over them next. But you can create supercharged hook baits, and you can keep letting it dry and building that layer up, and to the end then you'll get a supercharged hook bait. When you put that in the water, what you'll find is that'll all break off and cloud out and give you a little circle of attraction, even better than just a standard hook bait. So that's something that you can do with that product. So the next product I'm going to talk to you about is the bait spray, and the bait spray can be used to coat any hook bait. You know, it's a really, it's one of them smells, you know, it's got the chocolate orange in there, but it's also got something else in it that I can't really put my finger on, and I love the smell of this one. If it was to catch me, then I'd definitely be caught. But I used this bait spray on my trusty 24/7 Wafters when we was at Linear, in my Linear video, if any of you've seen that, and that lake completely shut down, you know, that day, and me and Ben were the only two people to have a fish one after the other. Obviously there was a shoal came through where we were, but we picked up fishing singles sprayed in the bait spray. So for me, that's given me confidence, and I've added that now to most of my hook baits, so it's definitely something that I'm using now going forward, and it smells phenomenal. You know, I know we say about catching the angler, but if anybody's looking for a bait spray that smells amazing, then that's something that I definitely recommend, really. As I've obviously talked about the bait spray, I'll now talk about the new Wafters. And we've got Wafters in both the OG Fish and the OG Fruit range. And these are salt cured Wafters designed in the same fleck. You know, Ben was really like conscious that he wanted it to be super match the hatch, so your baits that's going in matches really well with the bait that's on the bottom. And they're designed and tested with a size 4 curved shank hook, and I'll show you in a picture how they will sit designed with that hook. So something I want to talk about is with hook baits, mounting them. So I've had in the past with smaller bait companies that the bait comes off, you know, or over time when it's been in the water, I've lost baits and I've been fishing without a bait on the hook. And it took me a while, and I started using it at the caravan first, the Wafters, just to prove in myself, if you get what I mean, because there's nothing worse than feeling like you've got a bait out in the lake and it could have come off or stuff like that. But I've used them with both screws and bait flossed on micro rig ring swivels, and I found that they stay on. You know, I've fished at 120, 130 yards with them, whacking them out, and they've stayed on, and they've been out for 2-3 days. I even left one bait on for 5 days at the caravan when I was up there for a week, just to prove that it wouldn't come off, and I left it in a bucket. And to be honest, obviously the water got a lot warmer as well because it was in a bucket, because it was sunny, so I'd have expected it to come off if it didn't, but it didn't, and it remained buoyant. So for me, that's all I need to know, and I'm happy with a bait. Right, so the final product I'm going to talk to you about is this stuff here, and this is the Flat Spot. So it's Parker Bait's latest product, and what it's generally used for, you can use it to glaze your baits, but it's a little bit expensive to be putting loads of it in your boilies in that regard, if you get what I mean. But what it's predominantly designed for is coating hook baits. It's where what the OG Fruit has with its bait spray, the OG Fish has with the Flat Spot liquid. But what I tend to use it for is I use it in solid bags. And what this does is, I don't use a lot of it because it is expensive, but it gives off, and I'll show you a video now, globules of attraction. And obviously oil doesn't disseminate into the water, it globules off and comes up to the surface. And this is based on monster crab and a really fishy oil. It's a bespoke made product, it's not just something off the shelf. And I tell you what, it's mega strong. When I was filming that video that you're watching now, with all the globules coming off, I had to take the rig out afterwards and obviously clean the tank. And I was going to work after filming that. And what I found was that my arm stunk. I must have washed it 20 to 25 times, and that smell had leached out and got in my arm where the oil had coated my arm, pulling the rig out. And I just couldn't get rid of the smell. And that's really it then for the bait range, you know, for Parker Baits. And you know what? I'm genuinely happy with my bait now. I'm not looking to change or do anything, you know. I'm looking forward to a good season of fishing this year with a bait that I'm confident in. And I know this has probably come across as a bit of a sales pitch, but it's my honest opinion of what I'm using, you know. I'm not looking to change baits every 3 months like you see a lot of people doing and then preach that it's the best in the world. I'd have to use it for quite some time for me to give that confidence. And if any of you have used Parker Baits in the past and you're watching this, then get in the comments down below and let me know what you like, you know, what you use. And if you haven't used Parker Baits, tell me what you use and what you love. And I might do, what I could possibly do going forward in the channel is I could do some comparison videos with a tank, and I could get a number of different brands, get some small amounts of them, maybe the hook baits, and I could test the buoyancy against each other, test obviously the leakage and stuff like that. And yeah, it could be a good little experiment that I could do in the channel. And if that's something you'd be interested in, get in the comments, let me know, and I'll try it going forward, to be honest. So thanks for watching, and Caravan Carp is out.